We got a Minecraft shirt on, we got some women's sunglasses on today. I'm not even really sure what I'm doing with this show, but I'm your host, Protomario, and this is another episode of What You Missed News. Now, I have some important details and information about what I'm going to be doing with the channel at the end of this video, so please stay tuned to the end of the episode. Roll the intro, future Protomario. Welcome back to What You Missed Gaming, the video game news show that knows it's dangerous to go alone and uninformed on the internet. So here, take this video game news with you, and stay informed, ladies and gentlemen. So our first story is the PSX 2017 exhibitor lineup that has been revealed, and we're going to be talking about how many PlayStation games that there are going to be there. Now, I can't really go over them all in this story. It would be just nothing but me being boring and boring you to death, naming companies and games. There's literally a list you can scroll through over at the PlayStation blog, so if you're interested in taking a look at that, you should probably do that. But there are a few notable mentions. Detroit, Become Human, there's Far Cry 5. These are playable demo titles supposedly, and there are more than 80 developers and tons of games that are going to be playable. PlayStation VR is still being pushed somehow in some way, shape, or form with what little support it's been getting, and I have another story about VR coming up here next, which is Skyrim VR actually made someone throw up, but they wanted to play more. So that's a somewhat good sign. At the same time, it's a bad sign. This person said that it feels way more immersive, but after a while of playing that you just need to sit down and take a break. And I feel like that's kind of how it is with normal games anyways. If you play for a long time or you stare at a computer screen for a long time, it really does get to you. But because you have your peripherals, because you have everything outside of the screen that you're still seeing, you do get that break time. You're not continuously staring at that screen non-stop. With a VR headset, you don't have that, and that's probably why you get sick much quicker. So that's all I have to say. It's good that the game is pretty good. Skyrim VR is good enough that even though people are sick, they want to play it some more. So awesome. Why Cuphead is such a challenging game. The essential and the long and the short of this story is that they were talking about that it's a very difficult game because, in part, to the simple fact that challenge is relative to each individual gamer. So, for example, I find games like Contra to be somewhat challenging, but I can beat them, and I can beat them without the Contra code. There are many games like Mega Man where you have to just remember the patterns. You learn the patterns. Every boss has a pattern, and you can beat them without their weakness. You can beat the entire game without even getting hit. There are people who do this, and I do this. This is not difficult for me to do. It just takes time. I'm not bragging here. I'm just saying that, again, what they were saying here with Cuphead, challenge is relative to the player. So where that challenges me, there are other games that challenge me exceedingly more, like rhythm and beat games. Those are very difficult for me to play because I haven't had a lot of practice with that. I've grown up with platformers. As aforementioned, games like Contra, they don't even challenge me anymore. I could play through it if I had the 30 lives code. Playing through it where I wasn't even trying that hard, I'd probably get through it still with 20 lives at the end. It's not exceedingly difficult to me for the amount of times I played through it, and that's the same way with Cuphead. You just need to get the patterns down. It takes time to get better. As they say on the internet, get good or get rid of the game, because you're not going to be happy if you ain't good. It's time for a coffee break, folks. Why don't you remember to please sign in and share this video. Every like goes towards getting me another cup of coffee. The best thing about the Christmas season is the peppermint creamer that you can get for your coffee. So there's a don't pre-order video games unless you're in an alternate dimension pony person story. This isn't a mind-melting story, but it's very strange. Essentially, there is an episode of the spin-off, the My Little Pony spin-off, where the ponies go into an alternate dimension and become human-like. They're still ponies, but they're in human form. if that makes sense. That's the long and the short of it. I'm sure there will be other people that can explain it 10 times better. What happens in this episode is that they stand in line for a game, a big game release, and they are unfortunately greeted at the end of it with being told, hey, there's no more games, you should have pre-ordered the game. This is Hasbro, this is Hasbro's My Little Pony, so for whatever reason they're pushing the notion, the agenda, that it's okay that you didn't get the game as long as you had fun waiting in line with your friends. So, I guess the moral of the story is pre-order the game if you really want it, but that stuff doesn't really happen anymore these days, so this is a tired, played-out trope. I'm not sure why this is a news story, but it is. Esports is a mansion of butts, according to a bizarre ad. This is serious. The ad makes me cringe exceedingly bad. I'm going to link it in the description below. I cannot play it for you because it's that risky. There are a bunch of women in lingerie as this person puts on a VR headset, walks about, and basically you would think, oh, this is a VR headset commercial. Awesome. So now if I put this VR headset on, I can create a mansion full of skimpily dressed women. Hey, if that's your thing, that's your thing. Who am I to judge? Other than the simple fact that this is really cringy for what it is, and I absolutely don't like it. But whatever, you know, that's your thing. That's your thing. I'm judging. I'm really judging. Anyways, the point of this is that it's actually an esports recruitment ad. So let me get this straight. You're basically saying that if you join an esports team, you will get access to a mansion and a lot of women who are in lingerie all day long walking about. Is that the gist of what you're saying to me? Because it seems like an army recruitment video. It seems like army propaganda. When I went to join the army, they tried to feed me this BS about how I would have basically a college dorm, and it's like college. You just do a 9 to 5 while you're in school, and then once you graduate the school, you get to go to your assignment, and then you just do your job for 4 years, and it's a big party, and you get women, and you get to smoke and drink and have fun. Like, this really reminds me of that. It's very off-putting, shall we put it, especially for gamers in general, because I don't really view that. If I had a virtual reality headset and I could create anything I wanted, one day I'd be sitting on the beach, kicked back with a beer. Another day I would be in space, exploring the cosmos. I wouldn't be confined to a mansion with skimpily dressed women. I'm sorry, I'm just past that adolescence period. So that's me. You might be different. Again, you do you. That's the point of it. But this ad is to recruit you to an esports team. So very strange. I implore you to go check out the video, but again, it is pretty risky. So another story that came out was on Kotaku, and it says the world of Pokemon Sun and Moon is kind of bullcrap, except that they didn't use the word crap. YouTube, we don't want to get demonetized, fam, because the last What You Missed news got demonetized before anyone even saw one view on it. Anyways, this video is very odd. It's a kind of podcast where they talk about things. Essentially, they just went into the fact that they felt bad because Guzma was never permitted to become a trial captain, but that the totem Pokemon are strange and they just do whatever the heck they want anyways. So it's very strange that Guzma wasn't allowed to become a totem Pokemon captain, but yet the totem Pokemon don't have any rhyme or reason to them. And I agree with that to a point. Again, it's not really enough to make a theory about it, but it's very strange. Something to point at and say, this is odd. You know what I mean? And then finally concluding the stories, we have 14 things that are new in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. If you don't want to be spoiled, you can turn away right now, or you can fast forward a bit and try and find the point to where I stop. The point is that I'm not trying to spoil anything here. I'm not going to be playing footage. I'm just saying that this is a big story that came out. Essentially, it's a different story, of course, but there's also a quick save feature now. So this is kind of helpful and handy. They say that some of the fat has been cut, and I don't really know what you mean by that. Again, I haven't played through the entirety of the game, so that's subjective. Of course, there's more monsters to collect. There's almost every legendary in the world put in there. There's photo mode now. I've talked about this. It's become the Pokemon Snap. Pokemon Snap 2 of Pokemon. It's also become the Pokemon Stadium 3, if you get what I'm saying. There's more quests. You can surf on Mantine. There's stickers to collect. Woo, stickers, yay. Festival Plaza has more to do. Again, there's more villains. Team Rainbow Rocket, you've seen in the trailers. There's new Z moves. You've seen Mimikyu's new Z move. And there's a lot more new Pokemon. You can read through this article if you're on the fence about getting Ultra Sun and Moon, but it is a different game. Is it different enough from Sun and Moon to make you feel like you're playing an entire new game? I don't know about that. Potentially, possibly, you might enjoy it a little bit more. You might enjoy it a little bit less. That's very subjective and dependent on you and how you feel about sequels. It kind of feels like Black and White 2 as opposed to Black and White. So, if you were in that camp where you played Black and White and you bought Black and White 2, and then you were like, man, this isn't really that different of a game, this isn't different enough for me to really enjoy it, then this is essentially the same exact thing, except better because it has way more features. So, finally, I wanted to conclude on some things I've been feeling and thinking lately. This is kind of very important to me, so please, again, kick back and relax. I've been feeling like I've been walking on eggshells whenever I talk about things. Like, whenever I've ever spoken about a fellow YouTuber or talked about something happening in the community, I've always gotten backlash. And it's very unfortunate that we have this knee-jerk reaction on YouTube now that as soon as you speak about something like, hey, I don't like the Game Theorist as much as I used to like. Oh my god, you friggin' hate the Game Theorist? Oh my god, let me explain to you why you're a ripoff of the Game Theorist and why you're a piece of crap. And oh my god, you're irrelevant because you don't get as many views. You know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as you utter the words that you don't particularly like this individual, it completely blows up and blows in your face. Hey, sorry about your luck. The internet hates you now, you know? So, it's kind of crappy to feel like I'm always walking on eggshells, that someone's going to see what I tweet or talk about and then get really upset and offended at me. And I worked this out with my VA counselor that I need to be myself. I need to be me. I need to enjoy life and do what I'm going to do on my channel. I'm going to put a focus on talking about video game stories, talking about interesting things happening with YouTube and the video game industry, and also put more of a focus on Pokemon as well, with Pokemon Theories on Tuesdays and a lot of Pokemon stories. But I just feel, I've always felt like I'm not really part of the Pokemon community. I've always felt that people really don't like me that much, and hey, that's okay, man. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of What You Missed News. If you did, again, leave me a big thumbs up. If you didn't, leave me a thumbs down. But rest assured, once again, I'm not discontinuing my Pokemon content. I just feel like I need to be me, and so I am going to start being me. If it gets me into drama, if it gets me into hot water, well, hey man, you know what? The other person seems to be a little bit immature because they can't understand that I personally don't like what they do. Oh well. End of the day, oh well. Cry me a river. Sorry.